You are the light of the world. Did y'all know that? You are the light of the world. Did you know that your neighbor is the light of the world? Tell Marnie she's the light of the world, Betty. That's right. You're sitting next to the light of the world. Can you believe that? People in front of you, people behind you, people next to you, everybody in the choir up here, Reese behind the organ, the light of the world. People live on your street. Who are your neighbors on your street? Those people are the lights of the world. Which means we got to be careful. Well, maybe not y'all, but me and the rest of creation, we got to be careful about who we criticize. We got to be careful who we gossip about. We got to be careful, like people like me, we got to be careful with who we dare to hate. Because all those people are the lights of the world. Now, it might be easier for you to believe that your neighbor is the light of the world than that you are the light of the world. Some of y'all are sitting there thinking, I'm too boring to be the light of the world. Some folks in here are thinking, I'm too unhappy, I'm too doggone sad to be the light of the world. On our bad days, anybody have ever a bad day? Sometimes I have bad days, and I'm too greedy to be the light of the world. You ever get too distracted to be the light of the world? Sometimes I'm too self-centered to be the light of the world. You ever have a dark day? Sometimes you might think, I'm damaged goods. I'm too damaged. Sometimes people think, I don't know the Bible well enough to be the light of the world. Do you have to know the Bible pretty well to be the light of the world? Nah, you ain't got to be any of those things to be the light of the world. Or you can be all of those things and still be the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Some of you are sitting here thinking, well, he's sweet. I'm not actually that sweet. Ask my family. Huh? No, I'm not. You should call my mom and say, he was not always sweet. I'm not saying these things, you are the light of the world, because I'm sweet. I'm not sweet. All I'm doing is repeating what Jesus said about a bunch of people he hardly knew. This gospel scene in which he tells them then and us now that everybody's the light of the world is in the 5th chapter of Matthew's gospel. It's very near the beginning. He is saying this to people he hardly knows. If you look at the first 4 chapters, before we get to the 5th here, where he says everybody's the light of the world, you will find that there is absolutely nothing that qualifies those people to be called the light of the world. There is no indication in the text that they were baptized. There is no indication that they were inducted into the faith in any way at all. In fact, there's every indication that they should be fired from their jobs, because when a rambling, wandering rabbi walked by while they were doing their work, he said, come on, they dropped everything and left their jobs. So if anything, they're ill-qualified. All they are is drawn to Jesus, like moths to the flame of a candle. All they are is alive. And that's what we are. Any dead people in the room? No, everybody's alive in here. That's what we are, alive. Everybody, every one of us made in God's image and fully usable by God. We're like God's candles, y'all. Fully usable to light up the world with love. So there's a story about a woman who did not think that she was the light of the world. My sense is many of you know this story. A long time ago, there was a woman who lived about halfway between the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea, and just a little to the west. The woman had a very hard life. She had been married 5 times. Her first husband died shortly after they were married. She didn't know why. Some in her village said that it was demon possession that got him. But she knew his heart, and she knew that it was pure and good, no demons. possessed him. He just got sick, and he didn't get better. After a while, the woman married again. Her second husband was an older man. He died also after a few years, best she could tell. He died simply of old age. She did not, in truth, love her second husband with the depth of love that she loved her first, but he was kind to the woman, and she missed him when he was gone. After a while, the woman married again. Her third husband was not a good man. He was hard-hearted and had a mean streak in him a mile wide. One time, he hit the woman hard in her mouth. After a little while, the man was killed by a neighbor in an argument that went late into the night and got out of control. After a while, the woman married again. Her fourth husband was a wandering man with a lonely, melancholy, longing heart. He left their village one day and never returned. About a year after her fourth husband left, the woman got word that he had drowned in a shipwreck just off the coast. After a while, the woman married again. Her fifth husband was a widower himself. And when the woman reflected back, she could see that their marriage was broken before it even got started. Arguments were her memory of their marriage. The woman felt like she started most of the arguments they had. The woman in her fifth marriage was restless, irritable, and discontent, and she didn't know why. Eventually, they divorced. And the woman vowed to never marry again. But lately, she'd found a friend in a man who worked with stone in her village. The woman wondered at her luck, and she thought she might be cursed. She thought to herself, surely I am damaged goods. Will my heart be hard, the woman thought to herself, and dark forever? One day, on a trip to get water at the well just outside of her village, the woman met a man, a stranger to her, who was sitting on the lip of the well. The woman noticed that sweat ran down the man's face in streaks, and his feet and his legs were covered in fine dust. The man, she thought to herself, had been traveling, and the woman thought the man looked very tired. The woman did not speak to the man, but he said something to her as she approached the well. The man's voice was muffled in the wind, so the woman said in reply, "Excuse me, sir, what did you say?" And the man said, "Will you give me a drink using your bucket there in the well?" And the woman looked at the man, and she saw that he had no bucket. And the custom of their day, a long time ago, was such that him speaking to her and then asking to share her bucket was very much out of the ordinary. It simply wasn't done. And so the woman was guarded. And the man said to the woman, "Do you know who I am?" "I do not know who you are," said the woman. And the man said, "I am the one who can show you a source of life, eternal waters gushing up inside your own body." The woman shook her head. She thought of her life so far, married 5 times, and her mind filled with images of all the death, the darkness, the misfortune. It all flashed before her eyes. And she thought, didn't say it, but thought to herself, not me, not me, you don't know me. And as if he could hear the thoughts in her head, the man replied, saying, I do know you. I do know you. You have had 5 husbands, and the man you have now befriended is not your husband. And the woman was astonished. She did not know this man, had never seen this man. She was at once frightened and excited. And she said to the man, how do you know me? And he said to her, I am Jesus, the Christ. And daughter, you are the light of the world. And the woman shot back, me? Even me? And he said, yes, you, even you. And a light, like a little candle that had always been burning, but was veiled inside of the woman, was suddenly uncovered. And her lungs filled full of new breath. And her face, like a candle suddenly illuminated in a dark room, burst to light. And the woman left her bucket. She turned, left her bucket and the man called Jesus, and she ran as fast as she could back to her village. And when she got to the center of her village, she turned round and round in circles, shouting, I have found the Messiah! I have found the Messiah! And people came out from storefronts and houses from everywhere. A great many people came to the sound of the woman's voice. They heard her say, I have found the Messiah. And then they ran. They rushed to the well to see the man, Jesus. And when they got to him, each in the crowd heard the words for themselves, and each in a way that made perfect sense to them. You are the light of the world. And they begged the man Jesus, who told them all that they were the light of the world, to stay with them. And he did. He stayed for 2 days. And then he left that place. He went north to Galilee, where there were yet more people who needed to hear the words in a way they could understand. You are the light of the world. And he told them these words. And this man, Jesus, is here today in our midst to say these words to us, to you, to me, even me. Beloved sons and daughters of God, hear this. You too are the light of the world. No matter the things you've done or left undone, you are the light of the world.